It's time for Absolute Hawkman to go up against Absolute Superman. See, the last time at Absolute Superman number 15, he was finally getting comfortable in this title as Superman. He was doing his best to save everyone he can on the planet, while also trying to carve out a tiny piece of personal life for himself and rehabilitate Ra's al Ghul. But the pressures of all these things started to get to him as he would constantly go into the sky and scream in pain. He heard every problem, every issue on the planet, and it was slowly tearing him apart, but this was interrupted by Hawkman. For some reason, he's got beef with Superman. He's here to teach him some kind of lesson. So it's time to find out how this battle will end. What's next for our hero, and probably the most important part of this issue, what the hell is Brainiac doing at Lex Luthor's house? Let's get into it. And we start in 1940 in the nation of Kahndaq, where Carter Hall and another man are cataloging an entire tomb of King Teth Adam. It looks like this is absolute Black Adam. As Hall says, this is it. That's his mark. By God, we've actually found it. The tomb of Teth Adam, undisturbed for more than 3,000 years. Unbelievable. I've never seen a vertical antechamber like this. They line the walls of this well with King Teth's most treasured possessions. Good lord, if I'm reading these hieroglyphics correctly, some of these items must have been gifts from... No, that's impossible. As we see the mace of Hawkman, and we see 3 green creatures holding this mace. These look like different Brainiacs, and we know around 1940, Brainiac was on the planet, as the other man says, so the burial chamber is somewhere below us, right? And Hall tells him, yes, but we must move carefully. Lazarus is paying us to catalog every inch of this tomb, but things turn for the worse, as the man says, you're right, Dr. Hall, and Lazarus pays well, but Berlin pays better, cutting the rope to Carter Hall, leaving him to fall down this tomb to his death. And as he's able to grab onto a ledge, he says, Berlin, never took you for a Nazi, Bradford. And he reveals, never knew how much gold the buggers had, did I? Sorry, Carter. Nothing personal. Just stay out of my way. But Carter tries to tell him, if the legends are true, the power in this tomb could change the course of the war. There's no way I'm letting a monster like Hitler get his hands on it. But Bradford's not listening to this. For a man who's seen so much of the world, you're rather ignorant of its workings. Way of the world was set in stone a long time ago. War's a foregone conclusion. And just because we're fighting Hitler, that don't make us the good guys. You hang in there, Dr. Hall. But Hall is struggling as he says, oh God, I'm slipping, can't hold, help me, I can't, as he reaches for the mace and gold engulfs his body. And different men from the Lazarus Corps can hear screaming as they get the rope and they run to the well. Holy hell, you, hands in the air, by order of the Peacemakers. This dig is the property of Lazarus Holdings, but this is not some stranger, as this being says, it's alright, I know what it looks like, boys, but trust me, I'm one of the good guys. As Carter Hall now has the mace, the wings, and he's covered in blood. This is the origin of Absolute Hawkman, and he immediately took his revenge and flew out of the well. And now we're here in the present, where he is currently talking to Superman, and he says, hey, you hear me, kid? I said I'm one of the good guys. I'm here to help, and Lord knows you need it. You can call me, but Superman flies off in an instant, cutting off Hawkman, and he apologizes. Sorry, door fell off a plane over Cleveland. Hi, I'm Superman. I like your wings. What were you saying? As Hawkman begins to get more stern, I said, son, that you and I have a lot to talk about. I've been watching you, and I gotta say, you aren't, but boom, Superman's gone again, and he's beginning to piss off Hawkman, and he apologizes once again. Hey, sorry, thought a guy was choking in Omaha, but he was just laughing weird. Though, matter of fact, we should probably postpone this conversation to another time. But Hawkman has no time for this, as he grabs his wrist and says, hey, don't do that again, getting right in Superman's face. And as he continues to hold Superman's wrist, he tells him, there are people in trouble out there, but Hawkman doesn't care. There's always people in trouble. We're talking here, and I'm used to people listening when I speak. And Superman can tell, when he gripped his wrist, he is not human. No human could be that strong to actually hurt Superman. But Hawkman explains, born and raised in Gotham City, before the place went to hell. Couldn't catch me dead there these days. I'm Dr. Carter Hall, archaeologist, retired. But back during the war, when I was flying around busting Nazi skulls, they called me the Hawkman. It's the suit that's alien, made of something called nth metal, from the planet Thanagar. Never been there myself, but you're from somewhere out there, right? You ever heard of it? And this surprises Superman. How did you know that? Who told you I was an alien? But this was a trick. You did, kid. Just now. You got a lot to learn, new guy. Come on, let's take a walk. And as they go to have their conversation, we pick up in Metropolis, where a lot of armed guards are removing things from the Lazarus building. Of course, since Lazarus was defeated by Superman. And although our hero won, the problem is not over, as a Peacemaker is hiding in the shadows, taking orders from Talia al Ghul, as he says. Which crate? Okay, yes, I have eyes on it. Lot of armed guards. I'll need a full extraction team if you expect me to... Understood. As you wish, Lady Talia. Lazarus means forever, as he shoots the crate these men were taking. And inside are a bunch of red tentacles, overcoming the men. But before we find out what that is, we get the conversation between Hawkman and Superman. As Hawkman says, despite what everyone seems to think these days, freaking out like you're the second coming, you ain't the first man who could fly. I wasn't either, and I've been at this a long time. Long enough to see twinkle-toed hotshots like you come and go. And Superman's surprised to hear there were others with powers. As Hawkman continues, hell, there are others right now, aren't there? A bunch of you showed up at once. You're telling me that's some kind of coincidence? The big bat out east? The witch in the west? Some runaway from Project Olympus? Whatever the hell it was landed on Evergreen. But Superman doesn't know anything about the other heroes. I'm pretty sure the only ones to cross over so far are Batman and Wonder Woman. As Superman says, I don't know who you're talking about. All I hear are the screams. As Hawkman essentially gives him his view of the world. Yeah, guys like you are always the same. Pop up one day, hey mom, look what I can do. Convince yourself you're special, unstoppable. Figure why not change the world overnight? Iron Monroe, Wesley Dodds, Dr. Fate, Oliver Queen. Those names mean anything to you? But of course to Superman, they don't. And Hawkman tells him, know why? Because they were stupid. And for anyone confused, a lot of this information comes from Absolute Evil, and that's also the comic where he murders Absolute Green Arrow. And clearly, he's got no regrets. As he continues, someone told me once, the way of the world was set in stone a long time ago. And they were damn sure right. You can't change nothing overnight. You want to make a difference, you don't do it by basking in the spotlight, like you've been doing. And Superman's confused as Hawkman continues to grill him. Getting your picture taken all over the globe, saving a busload here, a plane full there. You think there won't be a response? And Cal is still confused. A response to saving lives? And Carter tells him, 80 years I've been at this, saved millions by now, probably billions, and not a one of them knows my name because I did it the smart way. And when Superman asks him what that was, we see Carter Hall killing the man that betrayed him all that time ago. And he tells Superman, I can show you, kid. Those others, they wouldn't listen. I don't want to see you end up like them. You're a rookie. Best to listen to the advice of somebody who's walked this beat for damn near a century. And Superman is all ears. For starters, you gotta let go of this feud with Lazarus. You've wounded them, but you can't destroy a company that powerful. There's folks won't allow it. Powerful folks. The powerful folks. Trying to beat Lazarus Corps is suicide. You gotta learn to work with them. And Superman's heard enough. Work with Lazarus? The people who tortured me, brutalized my friends, who want to subjugate this planet, the people who tried to make me a mass murderer? Why would I ever? But he cuts him off. Think you don't understand the bigger picture here, kid. See, wait a minute. You're about to run off again, aren't you? Superman, you walk away from me now after I've stuck my neck out to come here? We're gonna have a problem, you and me. And Superman reassures him, okay, Hawkman, I won't walk away from you. Only to fly at lightning speeds with a smile on his face, as Hawkman calls him a bastard. And with that, we catch up with Lois Lane, as we see a man walking out of the Daily Planet, and he tells her, let me guess, you're lost. Must be looking for the Daily Planet office. In the tower across the street, one with the shiny globe on top, you're about 20 years too late. As he continues to complain, old planet building got turned into condos years ago. I hear they're nice. A newspaper office is on the 8th floor of this asbestos-filled rat hole, one that looks like it's about to collapse. Good luck with the interview. So it looks like in the Absolute universe, the Daily Planet is no longer what it used to be. It's not this shiny beacon of reporting anymore, just some rundown shack that Lois is coming to. As Lois tells him, thanks, how'd you know I was here for an interview? But this man has read her work before. He can tell she's got some kind of relationship with Superman, and he knows one day she'll be a great reporter. And we learn this man is Perry White, who's usually quite important to the Daily Planet in the OG universe, but as you guys know, things have changed. As he tells her, he was the editor on the planet's Metro desk for 35 years, until 10 minutes ago. He no longer works for the Daily Planet. As it continues, you know the story. Get rid of the grizzled old news hound who you gotta pay a living wage so you can bring in some kid who worked for ramen money. The planet was a grand old gal once upon a time. Now, she's the Titanic. If the Titanic was a dump with a death trap elevator. This business will break your heart, kid. Good luck, Lois Lane, as he walks off. And with that, Jimmy Olsen begins to text Lois, and it turns out he got Perry White's job. But before Lois can respond, she sees tentacles all over the place and citizens being attacked. Even Jimmy can hear the screams from inside the Daily Planet. And with that, we catch up with Superman, who's still flying as he's dragging Hawkman with him. And he says, sorry about that, Hawkman, but something's happening in Metropolis. And as Superman sees it, he says, whoa, you see that? What is that thing? We'd better get, but Hawkman is done playing with Superman, charging up a hit as hard as he can and smash slashing him right across the back of the head. And this catches Superman completely off guard. What the hell do you think you're doing? But Hawkman is pissed, teaching you a lesson, boy, one way or another. But there's no time for this. People down there need our help. Don't you hear me? But Hawkman shows his true motivations. Let him scream, Superman. Let's see if you can save yourself. With that being said, Superman's done playing games. Alright, you asked for this. Shooting heat vision so powerful it explodes right on top of Hawkman. But this is nowhere near enough to stop Hawkman, using the flames from the explosion, wrapping him around his mace and smacking Superman across the face. As he says, yeah, and I'm still asking. And he continues to taunt, using his wings to cut the arms of Superman. That's it? Microwave eyes? That's the best you got? And with him being overwhelmed, Superman tries something else, using his cape to get the better of Hawkman. But that's not enough either, as he says. You ain't fighting peacemakers no more, champ. You're gonna need more than some fancy cape to save your ass. Electrocuting the cape right off of him, and Superman is now pissed, rushing right towards him. And as powerful as he is, rushing in a blind rage is also not going to work, as he gets smacked right across the wrist and Hawkman tells him, pathetic. Guess you figured you're so strong, you don't gotta learn how to actually throw a punch. Hitting Superman once again. You're fast, sure, but fast and clumsy is still clumsy. And again, smacking Superman across the face. Looks like you learned how to fight from watching TV. Grabbing Superman and headbutting him, continuing to taunt. I learned from killing Nazis and Viet Cong and commie super spies. Without me, you'll be dead in a week, Superman. And as he gears up for yet another attack, he says, now tell me the truth. You were never in a single fight before you got these powers, were you? And Superman, with blood running down his face, says, you're right, but I've got them now, as he charges up a solar-powered punch, and hits Hawkman as hard as he can, through multiple buildings and structures and streets. But as Hawkman immediately gets to his feet, something is roaring right next to them, as Superman says, I told you, either help me save Metropolis or stay out of my way, Hawkman. This is the only fight that matters. And we see what that Peacemaker unleashed on those soldiers a little while ago, as the container says, warning, infectious substance, Project Parasite. This giant monster is absolute parasite, and it is wreaking havoc all over Metropolis. But before we get to that fight, we pick up somewhere in Missouri, as Brainiac, now disguising himself as OG Lex Luthor, is talking to Absolute Luthor. And Luthor tells him, this is a generous offer, and I do appreciate you coming all the way out here, but I'm afraid I just don't understand. I mean, why me? Why come all this way and make such a push for a guy who owns a small town gas station and coaches Little League football? The only game we won was because the other team had mono. You sure you got the right Lex Luthor? But Brainiac assures him, oh yes indeed, Mr. Luthor, you're exactly the man I need for this project. After extensive research, your name has come up as the absolute perfect candidate. But Luthor is still confused. This project, you say, it's classified, so you work for the government? And Brainiac continues, I've shaken the hands of 10 presidents, 11 if you count the one who slapped me. Now I've gone into business for myself, and this project, well, all I can tell you is that its focus will be one very special individual. They call him Superman. But Lex is still oblivious to all of this. Sorry, I don't know who that is. I don't really care much for the news. I'd rather be working in the yard than looking at my phone. I know there's a lot of problems out there these days, but here, well, and we see why this Lex Luthor is so distracted. He has a family, as they tell him it's time to cut the cake. And as they begin to walk in the back, Brainiac continues to try. Mr. Luthor, let me remind you that money is no object. If my offer doesn't seem fair, simply add as many zeros to it as you would like. I assure you, I will pay whatever the price to be in the Lex Luthor business. But Lex just is not interested, as he tells him, well sir, the thing is, I got everything I need right here. I'm the luckiest man in the world. This Lex is not the Lex from the OG universe. He's not driven by rage or ambition. He's content, happy, and Brainiac is about to ruin all of that. As Luthor says, I'm sorry, but I just can't say yes to a job that's gonna take me away from my family. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to decline. And Brainiac tells him, I see, that is most disappointing. But Lex, being the nice guy he is, doesn't really want Brainiac to leave just yet. Don't feel like you have to rush off though. You're welcome to stay for a slice of cake, mister. Ah, I'm sorry, I don't think I ever got your name. But Brainiac is done with the charade. Oh, I won't be leaving. You're not who I thought you were, Lex Luthor. You're nothing like the man of unquenchable ambition you're meant to be. You see, I've seen beyond this universe. I've seen a Lex Luthor who raised himself up to throttle gods with his own hands, who carved his name in blood across the stars. This pitiful, hollow shell of a version seems to lack the necessary motivation, but that's alright. My name is Brainiac, and I'm told I can be quite motivating. Let's get started. As Brainiac is about to massacre everyone and everything close to this Luthor to push him towards his OG counterpart. And this is the end of the issue. Jesus, Luthor just cannot catch a break. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like Superman's gonna be here in time to save Luthor and his family. And somehow I get the feeling he's gonna blame Superman for not being there to save his family when he's there to save so many others. This might just be the beginning of a terrible rivalry. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I thought this issue was amazing, and I will catch you guys on the next one.